This is ConciseBaba Metziah Daf Lamed Hey, and we went all the way to Lamed Hey Amid Aleph for about 10 lines down. First word of the line is the Malve Abaye Amar. We're in the middle of a lengthy discussion. We had Rav Huna, and Rav Huna taught us that the Mishnah taught us that if someone does not, if a shomer does not want to swear, but rather he wants to take the initiative and pay, he's allowed to. And then in the eventuality that the ganif is found, the kefel from the ganif, the dalid v'hei from the ganif, will be paid to the shomer. On the bottom of Lamed Dalet and Beis, Rav Huna came along. Rav Huna taught us a chiddush, and Rav Huna taught us that in as much as he can pay and not swear, but there's a different shvuah that he has to still give. Rav Huna taught us that there's a shvuah she'inai bershusai, that in all cases one has to make a shvuah. Ashbina is a shvuah she'inai bershusai. What's the reason? Chayshinan shema'inav nasan ba. From there we began a long and lengthy brisa task kasha on Rav Huna. The brisa, in to put a long brisa very short, because we have to pick it up from there, was Hamalves Chaver al Amashkin va'avad Amashkin. Reuven lends Shimon $100. Shimon gives Reuven a mashkin, and Reuven, the malva, the lender, loses the mashkin. And now the conversation, the debate between lender and borrower is, number one, the borrower has to pay him back. Number two is that the lender lost the mashkin. So the borrower obviously wants the loss of his collateral, of his deposit, to offset the loan that he has to pay. And there were four cases in the brisa, the first and third, in which it was a kaifer akol, so there was no shvuah. The second and fourth, in which there was a maidem b'mixas, and therefore there was a shvuah. The brisa concluded, and the brisa said that there's a shvuah that has to be made. And the question is, who swears? And the brisa said, Misha b'kadain etzloi. The one who has the b'kadain by him, the malveh. Why? Because Shema yishba zeh v'yotzi Allah es ha'pikadon. And from here we wanted to ask a question to Rav Huna, because it would seem that the malveh is not making a shvuah she'ein b'reshusai. And teretz number one, we answered on the top of Lamed Hey Amid Aleph, was the case was the reidim, that the item was stolen, and we're concerned that if the lova makes the shvuah, the malva might go find the ganif, and thereby make the loiva into a bona fide liar, and we don't want that. And that's the reason why we don't let the loiva swear, but rather the malva is the one that makes the shvuah. Abaye Amar continues the Gemara again, about 12 lines down. The first one line is the malva. Abaye Amar, a second teretz how to reconcile this brisa. Gezerah shema yitoin v'yomer loy acher shvuah mitzasiyah. Abaye says, you know why we make the malva swear, even though he swears she'einer b'reshusay like Rav Huna, still we don't want the loiva to make a shvuah. Because in as much as the malva swears, it's not his rishos, and he might make that shvuah in earnest, but the problem is, maybe subsequently the malva will go look for the item and find it, again causing the loiva to be deemed a liar, and therefore we make the malva to be the one that makes the shvuah, the teretz of Abaye. Comes along Rav Ashi with a third teretz. Rav Ashi Amar Zenishma v'Zenishma. Says Rav Ashi, in reality, when the Mishnah says that the malva makes the shvuah, in reality they both make a shvuah. What does that mean? Zenishma she'einer b'reshusai. The malva makes a shvuah like Rav Huna said, she'einer b'reshusai. V'zenishma kama yeshaveh. And the loiva makes a shvuah how much it's worth. V'achi kamar, and this is how to read the Mishnah that we quoted. Mi nishma tchila. Malva nishma tchila. First, the malva swears she'einer b'reshusai. Why? Shami yeshaveh zeh. We don't want the loiva to swear. You tell us bikadain, and the malva to pull out the bikadain. So the malva is the first one to make the shvuah. And that's three different ways of reconciling the Mishnah that we quoted originally as a kasha on Rav Huna. Continues the Gemara, Rav Huna bar tachlifa. We're smacking in the Amid. The first line is bar tachlifa mishmei de Rav Amar Reisha de Seifa to Yufta Rav Huna. Says Rav Huna bar tachlifa. The first case at the end of the Mishnah is a kasha on Rav Huna. Why? That was a case seemingly of Kaifer Akol. Sela v'sina lav shtayim ayashaveh v'aloymer like yela sela v'sicha lav sela ayashaveh potter. Why potter? Because your classical Kaifer Akol, you're denying that you have to pay anything. So halacha is a Kaifer Akol doesn't make a shvuah. Asks the Gemara, asks Rav Huna bar tachlifa mishmei de Rava on our din of Rav Huna. V'mizalid Rav Huna. According to Rav Huna, that the Malva makes a shvuah she'einer b'rshusai. Migo de mishtava Malva she'einer b'rshusai. Lishtava nami agilgol shvuah. Kama haya shaveh. So ask the Gemara, what happened to the classical rule of Gilgul Shvuah? That once we make someone make one Shvuah, we're allowed to be Megalgel, roll upon him another Shvuah. So asks Rav Huna bar Tachlifa on the sheet of Rav Huna, if you are correct that such a Shvuah is in order, Shvuah she'einer b'rshusai, so then we should be allowed to Megalgel Shvuah onto the mouth in all scenarios. And the Reish of the Seifa said that he's potter. Question is, why is he potter? We should have a Gilgul Shvuah to make him swear. Kam ayashaveh. Amar Ravashi, Amrita l'shmaita kamed Rav Kana v'Amar li tehei b'maminoi. The Mishnah is referred to a case where the Leveh trusts the Malveh. When the Malveh says that it's not in his possession, the Leveh is maskim, and therefore there was no din of a shvuah of Rav Huna. Meaning, ein ochanami. If it existed, like Rav Huna said, a shvuah she'einer b'rshusai, then it's true we could have been a galgel another shvuah onto him. But says Rav Ashi, the case is where the Leveh is maskim. Says the Gemara, 10 lines from the white lines, and Hemnei Leveh the Malveh Nami. If that is the case, that the Leveh believes the Malveh, that he's not lying, that it's not his Rishah, so why doesn't the Leveh also believe the Malveh as to the value of the Mashkin, which is the whole debate? Says the Gemara, look him lebigavei, and that he holds that the Malveh is not really familiar with the collateral. Let's be honest, the item belonged to the Leveh. The Malveh was just holding it as a deposit. Continues the Gemara, v'nehemnei Malveh l'Leveh. Then why doesn't the Malveh believe the Leveh about the value of the mashkin, the kimlei b'gavei, because it was originally the Leveh's item? Says the Gemara, the Malveh doesn't believe the Leveh. Asks the Gemara, I don't understand. Sort of like the Gemara will ask often, my pascha, like, how do you know? We're sort of creating ukimtas right and left. So the Gemara wants to know what's the reason why we're readily assuming that the Leveh believes the Malveh that it's not b'rshusai, but yet the Malveh doesn't believe the Leveh as to the value. Says the Gemara, Leveh mekayim be'im Malveh. The reason is the Leveh fulfills in the Malveh tumas yisharim tanachem. Malveh mekayim be'im Leveh v'selev b'igdim yeshadim. The Leveh believes the Malveh. Why? Because the Malveh is fulfilling the pasuk tumas yisharim tanachem, meaning that the Malveh has money. The Malveh is the one lending the money. So when the Leveh sees this guy, this upstanding citizen with extra cash, and he went so far as to lend him money, so therefore the Leveh believes Hashem is shining down upon him bracha. So it must be he's yashar. Whereas the Malveh doesn't believe the Leveh because he says the selav avoigdim yishadem. If this person fell on such hard times, obviously he's not the greatest of people. We continue at the last narrow line with a story. Ho gavra, new story. Davkid kipe gavre chavre. There was a person who deposited earrings by his friend Amar Lei. And when the time came, he said to him, Havli kipi, give me back my earrings. Amar Lei yadana hechasivna. He responded, I don't know where they are. Also, Amar Lei, kol yadana. Anytime you don't know, it's Bishuasi, you're negligent. Zil, Shlim. Center of Kahana, you have to go and pay for the earrings. Lamaisa loy shilem, he didn't pay. Also Rav Nachman agbil apandeminei. So Rav Nachman went, and Rav Nachman enforced the din of his din Torah, and went and took his mansion for him in payment for the earrings. L'sai vishtachar kipi. Eventually, the earrings were found v'yakur, and they went up in value more than what it was originally worth. Amar Rav Nachman hadra kipu lemarayu. Says Rav Nachman, the earring should be returned to the owner of Hadra Apana L'Mara, and the mansion should be returned to its owner. End of story. So a guy deposited the earrings by his friends for safekeeping. The friend said he doesn't know where they are. Rav Nachman Paskind, not remembering something is negligence. He told him he has to pay. He didn't pay. He seized his mansion. When eventually the earrings went up in value and they were found, Rav Nachman said everything should go back to its respective owners. So Amar Rava on the fourth white line of Yosimna, Kamed Rav Nachman, I was sitting in front of Rav Nachman, Upirkin Hamavkid Have, and we were learning Hamavkid, this barak, Va'amri Lei, and I said to him, Shilem V'Laratzli Shava. The Mishnah says if a Shemer pays, it doesn't want to swear, then what happens in the eventuality that the Ganav is found? The Shemer gets the Kefel and the Dalad V'Hei. So he asked, I don't understand in this case, if from Nachman Paskin that he has to pay, and you seized his mansion in payment, so in the eventuality where the earrings are found, the Shomer should get the earrings back even though they went up in value. And Rav Nachman didn't respond. And says Rav Nachman, it's good he didn't respond. My time is a simple chalik. In our Mishnah, he wasn't matriach bezdin. He went and he paid in his own. So therefore, he acquired the payments of Dalad V'Hei and Kefil. Over here, he was matriach lebezdin. Therefore, he does not get the eventual uptick of the value of the earrings. Asks the Gemara, based on the story that we just said, Lemimra, it implies this other Rav Nachman, Teshuma Hadar. Sounds like Rav Nachman holds that the Shuma, if Bezdin seizes a property in payment for a loan or the like, Hadar, it's returned. Says the Gemara, is that true? No, shiny Hasan, the Shuma Betayas Avid Kavi Kipe Meikara wasn't a real Shuma because the earrings were there all along. He just didn't know where they were. So therefore, once he knows where they are, it will go back. Amrin Ardai Shuma Adar Adreza Yarchi Shat, it's 12 months. Vamra Mimra and Amrin Ardai Anosir Li Shuma Adar Lo Elam. Says the Gemara, 8 lines from the end of this Amad Vehilchasa. Shuma Hadar La'ilam. Why? Mishum Shenemar. It says in the Pasuk, Ve'isisa Yashar Ve'hatov. You got to do what's right. And what's right is to return that which is seized from the owner. Says the Gemara, Pshita. Based on what we just said, we'll extrapolate as follows. The following is Pashit. Samulei Lebal Chayv. If they evaluated a property for a Baal Chayv, someone owed someone money, so they took away his land to pay for it. And then he went and gave it over to his own Baal Chayv. You're no greater than the man that it comes from. Just like the first Baal Chayv has to return if he wants to pay back money, so too you have to do the same. Zavna, if he sold it, Orta, or he left it as a Yerusha, V'yava Matana, or he gave it as a Matana. So again, this land is seized and utilized to pay back for a certain chayv. The Malva, after getting this land, either sells it, gives it away, the Malva dies and his kids inherit it, and now the question is, the Leva comes, he wants to pay back the Halvan, he wants to get back his piece of land. Says the Gemara, Vadai. In this case, it is obvious. That when they purchased, the purchasers, why do they purchase this land? For the land, and not for cash. And therefore, it's very nice that the loiva now wants to get back his piece of land. We are not obligated to do such. Continues the Gemara. What about Shamul Ali Isha? If Bezdin gave properties to a woman and she got married, Oshamu Minei the Isha Van Siva, or they took away a property from a woman and she got married, Umeisa, then she dies. The husband is considered like a purchaser, and therefore, if they want to come and pay back for that land, the husband's like a purchaser and doesn't have to give it up. And similarly, on the flip side, we're not going to give to him if he wants to pay. If the Baal Chayv himself gave the property in payment of a loan, the Leva had no money. So in order to pay up the loan, what do? He went, he took one of his fields, and he gave it to the Malva and payment for a certain loan. In such a scenario, on the top line of Lamheim and the base, it has to go back. Chadamar lo yadra does not have to go back. Man damar lo yadra savar haizvini mal yahi. It's a proper sale, therefore it doesn't have to go back. Why? Because on his own he went and he gave the property to the lender, the Malva. Really, he didn't want to give it to him. Why didn't he go to Bezdin? Because he was embarrassed, but not that he actually wanted to give his piece of land, and therefore, Hadra, if eventually he has the cash and he wants to get back his land, he is able to. Says the Gemara, concluding this part, from what point may the Baal Chayv eat the peiros? Rav Amar Mechimata Adrachta Liyadei, when the seizure document comes to his hands, Abai Amar, Eida v'chasumim zachanai, once there's witnesses on the star, Rav Amar Mechishlima Yemei Achrasta, when the days of announcing are complete. We move on to a new Mishnah, the top third of Lamed Hey Amid Beis, continuing the halachas of Shemer, which really is going to be the thrust of this entire parak. Someone rents a cow, a para from his friend, and he lends it out to someone else, and it dies normally. The seicher, the renter, just has to make a shvur that it died regularly. And the borrower has to pay back to the seicher. The cow has to be returned to the owner, meaning the value of the cow. So we have some fascinating dinim brewing in this Mishnah. We have over here a renter. A renter, of course, is allowed to use the item, and the renter goes and he lends it out to a friend of his. The cow then goes and dies. So said the Mishnah, the renter makes a shvua that it died, and the halacha is, we look at Rashi, very important Rashi, the halacha is, when I rent something, I am not obligated for the eventuality of any einsim that happens. And therefore, the animal dying is an einis. I did nothing wrong. So the renter makes a shvua, swears that the animal died. And then the shayel, who is obligated for einsim, a shayel, as the next Rashi says, who is obligated to pay for einsim, so the shayel will pay the renter. Comes like Rav Yasi, and Yasi is not happy that seemingly you're doing business with your friend's item. Therefore, says Rav Yasi, you got to return the value of the cow to the bailam. Begins the Gemara. Let's figure out this Mishnah. Omar le Rav Idi Baravin Labai. Let's. Seicher b'mai kana l'hai para. How does the seicher, we're dealing within the sheet of the Tanakama, how does the seicher, the renter, acquire this cow? B'shvua, when he makes a shvua that the animal died, then it's considered like it's his cow. So says the Gemara, let the renter say, Tal ant, Vidal Shvua say, get out of here, I don't want your Shvua. And Vana Mishaina Dina Bahadi Shail. And I'll go straight to the Shail, meaning let's just do this sum result here. That's really the detail that's incredible. It comes out that the renter, I rent a cow from you for $100. It's like renting a car. So I give you $100. I have your cow. If that cow were to die, I did nothing wrong. Mesa is an oines, I swear, and I'm free. So now you just lost your item. The shayel, who I then go and I lent the cow to, the shayel is obligated for einsim. So and then the cow dies, I tell the shayel, I feel so bad for you, but you have to pay me. So I, the renter, end up gaining from your cow. Which of course is the reason why at the end of the Mishnah, Rav Yasi was so upset. So Rav Idi Bar Ovin says to Baal, what's going on over here? How did I make the kinyan when I swore to you that the animal died? So why don't you just tell me, go fly a kite, get out of here, and I'll go straight to the guy you lent it to. He'll pay me and everything will be fine. Says the Gemara, Amar Lei. Abaye responds, Mi Savar Seicha B'Shvuah D'Kakanila. You think the Seicha is kind of the Shvuah? Mishas Misa Udekana. Really, the Seicher acquires the animal immediately when it dies. Ushvua, and why does he have to swear? Tilhap is Taita Shalabais is purely to appease the owner, and therefore there's no way the owner can get out of this. We feel bad, but says the Tanakama, bottom line is the renter acquired the animal, and he just has to swear to the owner. Tilhap is Taitoi. Says the Gemara, Rav Zeira, adding some extra details onto the din of the Mishnah. Says Rav Zeira, Pa'amin, there are times, Shabaylam Mishalmim, Kama Parais L'Seicher, there are times that the owner will have to give many payments of cows to the Seicher. Hey Chidami, what are you talking about, Rav Zeira? Agra Minei Me'oyaimi, what happens if I rent a cow from you for 100 days? And then I go and I borrow it back to you. You're the owner. I rent your car for 3 months, for 100 days. You come back to you the next day, say, I know I rented you my car, but really, I need the car. So I say, no problem. It's your car. I'll lend it back to you. Then I rent it for 80 days. Then you borrow for 70. And while you're borrowing back your car that I rented, the car dies, your animal dies. What's the halacha? For every she'ila that happened over here, and you borrow this cow twice, you have to pay me, the renter, for your cow. Incredible. Says Gemara, I don't understand. The whole thing is one cow. Avka mischiras, v'ayla sheila, misheila, v'ayla le'schiras. So says Ravacha, this is crazy. There's no way that you have to pay more than one cow. Amrlei Ravina responds, is the cow alive? To name Lehachi, you can say this. The cow's no longer here. So I know it sounds strange, but the cow went back and forth. So for every sheila, you the shayil. Halacha is your chayv and you have to pay. Says the Gemara. Mar Barav Ashi Amar says Mar Ravashi, like Ravacha said. Ein la aleim al shtei paros, chad sheila v'chad schiros. Shom sheila achasi. The borrowing is one. V'shem schiros achasi. The sheila kani legamri. The schiros avid beyimei schirusai. Umahadir lei lemare. Then it goes back. So an interesting machlekes over here, whether the renter is going to be obligated multiple cows or only one cow. We'll stop over here in B'siyat Shmai. We'll pick it up from Rav Yirmiyah in the next shiur.